Hey everybody, it's Jason and welcome back to my channel. My last attempt at making charcoal with my new much larger kiln was a bit of a disappointment. An air leak at the bottom of the kiln allowed oxygen into the superheated charcoal and it smoldered into dust over the course of a few days. Now I'm going to address that issue and make another batch this week, hopefully with much better results. I've decided to change things up a little bit for the wood, the source wood. What I've got in here, number one, I went with trunk wood and split it because I have only been using limbs up until now, and I kind of wonder if that makes a difference. I really don't know. That's why I'm trying it. So I'm trying this trunk wood. So I've got a piece of locust, that's a piece of maple, another piece of locust, and in here somewhere is, there's a piece of hickory. Now it's kind of decaying. It's off of a branch too, but there's a fair bit of heartwood. I don't know if you can see that. There is a fair bit of heartwood on that, so maybe. I'm gonna try it all and see what the difference is at the end, is basically what's gonna happen. So yeah, I'm just gonna cut it into smaller pieces and pack it nice and tight. The other change I'm gonna make is I'm going to switch back to my original small kiln. The reason I'm gonna do that is just because it's a lot less hassle to set up, takes a lot less fuel wood to keep going, and I've got a track record with it. I know how it has reacted in the past. So I'm gonna make my changes, changing the size of the wood, changing the cut of the wood and dryness and all that kind of thing. I'm gonna make all my changes on this, and then once I get this figured out, then I'm gonna move up to the bigger kiln. But this is much easier. I can set it up, cut the lawn, come and check it. I don't have to kind of babysit it again. Instead of trying to fit a cap onto the end, I'm going to lay the bottom of the oil drum directly on the ground and set the flat edge of the kiln on top of it. Then I'm going to pack a couple of inches of wet ashes and clay around the edge to hopefully seal it. This really should be enough to prevent oxygen from getting in, so I'm pretty confident it's going to work. I've been using this barrel for a long time, but it still seems to get the job done. I'm surprised it hasn't burnt out, but we'll just get another one when it does. In a lot of ways, I really like this smaller rig than the big one. It's easier to keep them under control. You don't have to feed it nearly as much, and I don't know. I like the way that that's set way down, and I don't use the chimney with this either. I just burn away. All right, we're up about 45 minutes. So, bottom of the drum is over 300 degrees Celsius. I've switched over to Celsius because everything I've read has been in Celsius. It's all scientific stuff. So I guess the action happens between 300 and 500 degrees. I'm thinking if the outside of the drum is over 350 degrees, that the inside drum is definitely over 350 degrees. So I'm not going to push the heat on this one anywhere near as much. I'm just going to keep enough to keep a nice bed of coals down there until I start to see some action from the volatiles venting through the top. Okay, this is the first sign of activity. I don't know if you can see it, but when I stir it, the little ashes and stuff right directly above the pipe get shot up in the air, so there's pressure blowing out of it. They're not volatile yet, but they will be soon. All right, here we are at 1 hour. Listen to that. Hear that blowing out of there? It's just starting to catch a little bit of fire. The volatiles are coming out. They're coming out fast. The real good stuff's still to come. So yeah, it's been an hour. This thing's burning really nice and hot. and I'm quite happy with it so far. Got a nice bed of coals going there at the bottom. All right, it's 1 hour and 10 minutes. Hear that thing blowing? You can, it's hard to see in the video, but there's a flame shooting up about 18 inches from it. You can kind of see it against the dark right in there. You there? Okay, it's 2 hours in, and we've got flame. We got regular flame coming out of that thing with pretty good pressure. So those are the volatiles coming out, and they seem to be coming out pretty healthy. 2.5 hours. So I've been making charcoal for, I don't know, 5 years or so. I'm just trying to master getting these big lumps for my buddy, but I've been able to make some pretty good stuff over the years, and I have never had this much come out and burn off. Never. So I'm wondering if it's just the quality of the wood. It's the only thing I can think of, is maybe I just haven't been using good enough wood over the past few years, because honestly I've been using just limbs and kind of dried up stuff. So this is a little bit fresher, maybe a year cut, and it seems to be making a big difference. Okay, 3 hours, actually just past 3 hours, like 3 hours and 10 minutes. And you see that all the excitement's done there. It's kind of casually smoking. It's that smoking we don't want. That means the charcoal on the inside starting to burn. So we've got to put a cap on there, and that will not, that will seal it from any more oxygen, and it will kind of just snuff itself out. Right now, I realize why they send the gases out the side and then up, because then you don't have to reach into the heat to put on this cap. That's my guess anyway, because it's hot. Yes, I've burnt the hair off my arms before, and I really don't enjoy it very much. So that's 1 point for that. I want to stop heat going in because it's done. So I'm just gonna pull this off. I want this thing to stop burning. I want it to cool down as fast as possible, but I also still want to keep that bottom sealed. So I'm just gonna leave it just like that for the next day. I won't even think about it until tomorrow. And just for fun, let's take a reading off of the side of this thing. So it's 240 was the highest I saw, 270, 250. That thing is just below the pyrolysis threshold, I guess, of 300 degrees, if it is actually works that way. Okay, it's the next morning, and the kiln has dried down to 22 degrees Celsius, which is room temperature. So there's nothing else going on in there, which is a good sign. So what we're gonna do is clean the ashes from around the bottom, tip the thing over, and see how we did. It looks nice. Right away, I can tell this batch turned out much better. There was some really nice forearm-sized lunks, along with a nice mix of mid-sized stuff going down to the size of about a golf ball. I'd say this was my best batch yet. A few of the really large chunks weren't quite done all the way through, but my buddy didn't seem to think that would be a problem. He picked everything up from me, and a few days later sent me some videos of the charcoal in action. He absolutely loved how long the big lumps lasted, and now he wants me to stock them up for the summer. I'm going to make the necessary alterations to the larger kiln and then start going into production hopefully next week. Well, that's it for now. Thank you so much for watching, and if you like this kind of stuff, why don't you hit the subscribe button? It really helps, and you'll get notified when more stuff comes.